It's why I do what I do now.
Hmm.
But I think you just like we tossed it up and you just hit a grand slam when you're talking about having the ability to admit when you're wrong and also
Hmm.
just being humble enough to say you don't know. I think
Yeah.
all too often in construction, like we think we have to know everything and have the answer for everything. And like
Yeah.
that's the shit that gets us in trouble.
Totally. Yeah. Like the thing about it is you don't need to know everything, but what you need to do is to be able to get the answer, and you need to be able to define the time frame in which you're going to get that answer, and then you got to do what you said you're going to do. And it's not very complicated, when it comes to communication. But far too often what I have seen, especially in this project management lens, is that I have this like little image. And so if when you're thinking about this right now, just try to visualize a really big box and then beside it a very small box. We spend most of our time in the very big box and not so much time in the small box. The one on the left, the big box, is the non-client facing box. The one on the right is the client facing box. And the challenge is exactly this. I need to have all the answers before I go to the client about this problem that we've encountered. When quite often, if you actually just take a different approach and involve them in the conversation, but guide that conversation. Again, you don't need to know everything, but you need to be able to guide through to a resolution. You actually sometimes come out with a much better outcome because sometimes the outcome that you might work all this time on isn't actually what your client wants. So, simple example, I had a project years ago. We had 4 bathrooms and a laundry room and a kitchen. So, there was a whole bunch of areas where tiles were going in. It was like a new house. And one of the bathrooms, the tile showed up, right size, right material, wrong color. And it got installed. And the project manager knew about this and was like working feverishly to find a resolution. I said, the clients, now I know the clients are living around the corner. I said, did you tell the clients yet? Did you bring them into the loop on this? Because the worst thing that can happen is that they walk in and see that, and then they're going to lose trust in your ability, in us as a company. And so I want you to like step out of this meeting, give them a call, just let them know what's happened, tell them the steps that you're taking, tell them when you'll be back to them, and then come back to the meeting, because you just never want your client to kind of see this. So again, it's like you're going to make mistakes. There's nothing macho or there's no pride about like having to like solve everything in advance and be perfect because all of that's a fallacy. It doesn't exist, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, it's such a critical thing for sure when we talk about like having to have all those answers, and it couldn't be further from the truth, really.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to the controlling emotions. Like, no
Yeah.
matter what's happening,
Hmm.
you have to understand, like, these are emotions that people feel. Like when you're dealing with upset customers or an
Hmm.
escalated situation, whether it's a customer, an employee, or anybody, like
Yeah.
these are as the leader, we have to understand these are emotions they're feeling. We have to
Yeah.
work through those. We have to get to the root cause of all this. And we just can't come in and just completely throw their emotions out the window. That's how you get in
Yeah.
trouble really, really quick.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, without question. Yeah. I've always said, like, drop your emotional baggage at the door, go in and be the person you need to be for that client or that team member, internal team member at that moment in time.